charges. They say she was the highest-ranking woman in the 5'9". Cardi B's best friend is facing charges tonight in a sweeping gang roundup. Star Brim, whose real name is Yannette Respass, was indicted on racketeering and assault charges. They say she was the highest-ranking woman in the 5'9" Brims gang. That's a subset of the Blood Street Gang.
The 5'9" Brims enterprise was a set of the Blood Street Gang formed in Los Angeles, California in the early 1970s. In the 1990s, certain individual sets of the Blood Street Gang, including the 5'9" Brims, began operating on the East Coast of the United States, including in New York, under what was known as the United Blood Nation, also known as the UBN. In the early 2000s, members and associates of the 5'9" Brims broke away from the UBN and began operating under the New York Blood Brim Army, also known as the NYBBA, which was composed of, in part, multiple subsets known as hoods, which included the 5'9" Brims, the Bloodhound Brims, the MacBowler Brims, and the Lowrider Brims, among others. Despite having different names and being comprised of individuals from different areas of New York, each subset of the NYBBA, including the 5'9" Brims, maintained common tattoos, communication codes, language and gestures. Members of every set were identifiable as Bloods because they wore the color red. The 5'9" Brims was a gang comprised primarily of individuals residing in and around Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx and Manhattan, New York, and elsewhere. As alleged in the superseding indictment, the 5'9" Brim set of the Bloods is a violent street gang whose members have engaged in criminal activities including drug trafficking, robbery, and fraud, as well as murder, assault and firearms offenses. Between January 2012 and February 2020, the defendants, together with others, conspired to conduct the affairs of the enterprise through a pattern of racketeering acts, including identification fraud and access device fraud, narcotics trafficking, and multiple acts involving murder. All of the defendants' membership in the enterprise is confirmed through evidence seized from cellular telephones and social media accounts, among other sources. They engaged in communications regarding various illegal schemes designed to enrich themselves and the enterprise. In particular, the investigation revealed that the defendants made large sums of money from selling crack, cocaine, marijuana and pills, including ecstasy and oxycodone. They often supplied each other with the narcotics, sharing in the illicit proceeds and passing part of those proceeds on to incarcerated members of the enterprise. Willie Evans was charged as the gang's godfather, or highest-ranking non-incarcerated member, and Jammer Simmons, allegedly, was the highest-ranking member of the Bronx-based Brims. Yannette Respass, which a lot of you may know as Star Brim, was the godmother of the set. She is also a good friend of entertainer Cardi B, which has been well documented. As early as 2012, the Brims was wilding. The Brooklyn set identified itself as the Bread Gang. Around 2015, they started beefing with a rival faction of the 5'9" Brim. This gang is identified as the Real Right Crew.
You niggas couldn't impress, niggas got the bag, I won't settle for less, nigga. Got a Hellcat up on my neck, nigga. Tell my youngest be back in the jets, nigga. You know shit get litty, you know shit get litty. I'm not worried about nothing, cause when I'm in traffic, yeah, I keep it with me. You know shit.
The Real Right set of the Blood Street Gang operated in Brooklyn and elsewhere. Real Right members were active on social media and often appended the name of the gang to their usernames, and also wore clothing and jewelry with the Real Right Gang's double R logo on it. Jeezy Moolah and Real Right Sport are members of Real Right. They are also rappers for the gang. They consider themselves Woo and go as far as claiming that Jeezy Moolah started it. Both of the gangs are known for scamming. One thing we did know, they was getting money. In October of 2015, Melvin Pippins, aka Bread Gang Melly, was sitting in his car smoking some bud with a female friend. He was near the corner of Beverly Road and East 19th Street. Around 2 in the morning, another car pulled up next to them. A gunman, seated in the passenger's seat, opened fire and struck Pippins in the chest. The woman in the passenger's seat of the car was not injured. She ran out the car, yelling and screaming after the shooting. A few moments later, Melly got out of the car and staggered over to the entrance of a nearby building where he collapsed and died. Melly was a co-gang member and brother of Marvin Pippins, aka Muck. December 19, 2015. Following the death of Bread Gang Melly, Muck found himself in the Bed-Stuy section of BK on a drill. Sean Peart aka Real Right S. was parked on Dean Street near Schenectady Avenue around 4 p.m. when a white car pulled up near his Infiniti. Allegedly, Muck got out, walked up to Peart's car and opened fire, riddling it with bullets. S. managed to drive off down Dean Street, getting close to Utica Avenue before ramming into a parked Nissan. S. who had been shot several times in the chest, was rushed to Interfaith Hospital, but he could not be saved. This was the first murder charged in the indictment against the Brims. The feud led to a series of violent confrontations between the two gangs, and they sought to retaliate for the murder of Real Right S. by shooting and killing Bread Gang members at any opportunity. On January 3, 2017, allegedly, Real Right members, Bam Bam, aka Real Right Sport, and Mark Waiters, also known as Telly, found out that a Bread Gang member was at a specific location in the vicinity of Essex Street and Hester Street in Lower Manhattan. Smith and Waiters traveled to the location and shot an innocent person sitting in his car whom they mistook for their intended target. The victim was seriously injured, but survived the shooting. In 2018, members of the 5'9" Brims agreed to commit and orchestrated a violent assault against bartenders at a nightclub in Queens called Angels, because members